I'm a second-year medical student at McGovern Medical School. I am originally from Lubbock, Texas. I grew up there and moved to Austin for undergrad and did my undergraduate studies there. I majored in neuroscience, and I also swam there competitively on their swim team. Following the completion of my undergrad degree, I did stay in Austin for 4 years, I guess. So I'm a little bit of a non-traditional medical student now, but I had a career that I wanted to pursue for a little bit. I swam professionally for 4 years up until the Olympic trials last year. I was very happy with that career. However, I always knew, from the beginning that medicine was my lifelong passion and what I really wanted to dedicate my life to. So I eventually, hung up the cap and goggles, came over here to Houston, and now I've just finished my first year medical school. Like I said, I've always been interested in medicine. I think the passion really started, so my dad's a physician, so that he kind of was the first little seed that was planted in me. And then I think it really was, it was a funny experience because we have this, I think everyone knows about United Way. I was actually involved in that organization pretty heavily in high school, and I realized I really liked serving people. That was like what I really wanted to do. It was one of my core values and what I aligned myself with. And so I think for me, wanting to serve people, I really liked sciences. I loved biology. I loved medicine. I loved everything about it. And so it was really going and pursuing a career in medicine was a way to kind of converge all those interests of mine, and specifically also serving the underserved populations. I will never forget actually my first time. So Lubbock is a very small town. My first time going to Austin, I was quite young. It wasn't when I got to college. I was quite young, and I remember seeing a homeless person for the first time, and I was like so struck by it. And I was very young, like I said, and I had half a bag of Skittles that I was in the middle of eating. My mom loves telling this story, and I had like 2 quarters, I think, in my pocket for the next bag of Skittles I was probably gonna buy. And I walked away from seeing the homeless person. I just started crying. My mom, asking me what's wrong. And so I actually went back. I put my Skittles and 2 quarters on his lap. He was asleep, and he kind of jolted him awake. But I put it in his lap, and I walked away, and I remember thinking, I want to help him more. Like, that's not enough. So that's kind of how I came into the field of medicine and wanting to serve the underserved populations, and the drive for the career that I'm pursuing. So I first heard about homes on my interview day, actually. I think I interviewed at both Baylor and McGovern, and I don't remember, I think Baylor was my first interview, and I remember hearing about it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And every time, throughout the interview process, when I was making that pros and cons list, Holmes was at the very top of the pros for why I wanted to attend, either Baylor or McGovern. I was very interested in both schools. And I remember also not only being interested in it, but then going to other schools and throughout the interview trail and asking if they had something like Holmes. And some places did, it varied. But nothing really seemed, no school had exactly, Holmes and what I was really looking for, a medical school to have. So that was, my first introduction. And so of course I get on campus, and I remember I'm at McGovern now, and I get on campus the very first day, and we had that org fair, and I beelined it to the Holmes booth. And I remember just wanting to know anything I could to get involved and to help out, and just to, start volunteering and just being in the community and serving at Holmes. And so I had my first day at Holmes, and it met every single expectation I had, and exactly, why I wanted to go to McGovern and be a part of Holmes. And I've just, every time I walk away, I just have this, I'm just happy. I feel genuinely fulfilled, and I just feel there's, a purpose other than just, studying in med school can be a little bit mundane, and you're just reading through the textbooks and you're studying, but going to Holmes on Sundays is always the light that I can look forward to at the end of a hard week. And it always helps me, reset and realign, my purpose and my values and my drive for the path I'm pursuing. It's a meaningful experience I've had at Holmes. And this was hard to decide because I really do feel strongly that every time I walk away from the Sundays at homes that I really feel every experience is meaningful. But the one that stands out to me in particular was from the health fair that Homes put on. I think it was in October. They put on a health fair, and basically what it was is you had 2 conference rooms. They were filled with booths of different resources that were available to the people that came in. So they bring them in, we do blood pressure screenings, glucose screenings, just general wellness, but then you also got the social resources. So there was people to talk about housing, people to talk about, pharmacy was there to talk about different pharmacy needs, and so many different resources, mental health, dental, dermatology. There's so many great opportunities there, and I got to be a buddy. So I would actually take someone, I'd meet them at the door, the entrance door, and we'd take them around and kind of snake through, and you really got to know them because you were really talking to them, figuring out what do you need, and in different, whatever the circumstance may be. And so we got to interact with quite a few people that way. But I remember this one woman came in, and she was, at first she was like very chatty, and she was happy, and I could tell she was, in quite a good mood. And then I think as the day progressed, and maybe, I don't know if it was a discussion she had with someone that was providing resources or what it was, but she kind of started shutting down and got a little bit emotional. And she really opened up to me at that point. And, like I said, we spent some time together because we were going through the whole fair together as buddies. And she really opened up on, her experience and what led her, to become homeless, and what led her to the doors that day, actually. And that's what it was. And I think, that helped me, better understand which services she may be needing. And so, point her in the right direction. So, okay, well, you just moved here. Maybe we can get you set up with a case manager that can help you get an ID, or, your insurance, you'd be eligible for a gold card. So here, I'll bring you in this room and you can talk to this individual in regards to that. And I think it was a hard day, but it was a good day for her. And when I left her, she gave me a hug at the end, and she left, and she was just so thankful. And it was that, when they look at you and you can see that genuine gratitude, and then also knowing that I actually did help. I could do something and provide her with some, I wasn't necessarily like directly providing the services, but I was putting her in contact with the people who could provide those services. And so I think that was a really meaningful day. And, the whole fair in general was just spectacular. I wish we could do them, like on a monthly basis, because I think they're so impactful, and we were able to see so many people that day. But I would definitely say that is my most meaningful experience at Homes. My first time at Homes, I served as a health advocate. I was really I kind of knew what to expect going into it, but I was really nervous. I just wanted to help the most that I could, and I went in there, and the health advocate, one of their major roles, they go out and they speak to potential patients that day that we're going to see at the Homes clinic, and you ask them about the resources that they currently have, and maybe what they would need moving forward. And it was a big learning day for me, I will say, because there was resources that I didn't even think of, or I didn't even know. Yeah, I'll never forget going in, and someone was asking me about the New Hope housing, and I had no idea, and I felt so bad for not being able to provide them with the information they needed. But I went back into the office at Homes, and I asked the manager that was there that day, and they gave me all the information that I could possibly need to relay back to those the individuals out in the beacon. And I learned. I can't say I did a great job in that role the first day, but I've enjoyed going back in that role and serving and knowing more about the resources and everything that Homes provides in terms of those resources. So that was the health advocacy role. And then I've also served in a preclinical role as well. And that one was incredible. It's great. It's great because you're serving the underserved population, but then it's a great learning experience. And the attendings there are so beyond helpful and just gracious with their time and the knowledge. And every time I go, I learn something new about the history and physical exam, or I learned something new about how to present to an attending, and just something else. I always go away from the experience having learned something new. And then also, like I said, being able to provide that care to someone who otherwise wouldn't have had it. And then the third role that I'm working towards, so there's a manager and training role, and I am in that. You have to serve three times as a manager in training before you can actually become a manager. And so I'm working towards that. I also love that role because there's just so many kind of behind the scenes moving parts that go on at homes that I don't think a lot of the students see. And the reason they don't see that is because those managers are so well trained and do such a good job, and they're so experienced and knowledgeable in how the homes operates. And so that was also an eye-opening event to see, oh my gosh, so many things go on behind the scenes, and there's little issues that crop up as the day goes along, but those managers do a great job of kind of smoothing everything out. So on the outside, it's like, what is it, like a little duck swimming, on the outside you look smooth, just sailing along the water, but underneath they're really working hard to make sure everything is in line and is facilitated as it's supposed to be. A lot of them are coming in, there's so many a variety of needs, and we kind of triage and have to select the one that's most pressing for that day, which is sometimes it's really hard because sometimes there are so many people that have so many needs, and it's always so multifaceted because it's not just, oh, here's a prescription for your blood pressure medication. It's really, we're getting to the bottom of it and setting them up with a primary care, or setting them up with someone they can follow up with, but also like providing that acute care of, oh, here's blood pressure medication, here's what it is. Oh, are you worried about having HIV? Can we get that? Can we get a prep done? Whatever it may be, we're providing those services. And a lot of times they do come in with one chief complaint, and through the history, we take a very extensive history, trying to understand every aspect of their presentation that day, and through that history, a lot of other things. I really think homes is truly impacting the homeless population. In terms of students, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's a learning experience. You get to do histories and physicals, things that you learn about in school, and you maybe you've done worked with some patients, but also it's giving you a unique perspective on a subset of the population that you maybe wouldn't see every single day working at, whatever hospital system or whatever it may be. You really don't see it. And I think it's really valuable experience to transfer to the hospital, to when you see patients that may have specific needs that are different than, maybe even your attending knows about. I think that's a really important learning point. I think resources are a big need right now for homes and the homeless population. I know, a lot of patients that I've seen come in and they just want clothes, they just want socks, and it's just little things like that you think about your own life and you're like, wow, I really take that for granted that I have shoes, reliable shoes that I'm going to go put on when I leave my house or my apartment, whatever it may be. When I leave, I know I'm putting on shoes, and we take that for granted, I think. And those are things that the homeless population comes in and they're asking us for. Then we provide everything that we can, but sometimes resources are limited. And so I think that's one way in which the community can help serve homes. We have so many students who want to help. We have so many people that want to help, and there's so many people that do need help, so many homeless people that do need our help. And it would just be incredible if we could find other venues of being able to provide that.